Yeonhee Dreamer Plays.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be checking out Gideon in two different teams. The first is the offensive team, and this is the team that we tested in the live stream. Basically with Jack at the back as the DPS, followed by Dylan as the buff blocker, Rudy for shields and also buff duration reduction, and Chip is here. No, not Chip actually. I'm not using Chip. I'm gonna use Colt. Okay, I don't know why I recorded it as Chip. So it's gonna be Colt. Okay, Colt is there for physical attack increase and also for debuff cleansing. Okay, so the role of Gideon here is that he is going to allow you to do more damage, 40% more damage to the enemies, and that is going to help overall boost the damage output of your team, of course, and mainly for Jack, because you want Jack to slay super hard. Unfortunately here I do not have the ambush stat on my Rudy, but I do have the Gallada's Might accessory on my Rudy, so he will reduce 2 turns buff duration. So on turn 2, like right now, damage hits through 3 million damage. Jack is already incredibly strong himself, so you know, with Gideon on the field to support him, it is going to be pretty insane. But overall, I feel that the team, you know, is a hit or miss, because sometimes you may get cut, especially if you go second. Usually if you go first and Rudy reduces the gauge, and you know, if it just so happens that your Jack goes after the Rudy, chances are you probably will have wiped some of the enemies already. But if you go second, then that's a different story. Okay, and to support Gideon's ability to cast Death, my Dylan's also has the Death accessory, so if Dylan's does counter and lands the Death, and hopefully, you know, he lasts long enough, Gideon is able to then you cast the Death onto the enemies and hopefully kill them via that method as well. So that's kind of a two-pronged method. One is with the Death, and then one is with Jack's insane damage. Yeah, basically that's mostly how it should work in this team. Okay, Rudy is here to overall increase your bulk after turn 6, after the buff block has been cleansed, and yeah, it theoretically works pretty well. Okay, but you really do need your heroes to move. I mean, if your Jack is just somehow incapacitated because of the stun or, you know, electrify whatsoever for a longer period of time, then you may face some trouble doing the damage. Okay, because as we know, Dylan's does not really do much damage, I would say, and he doesn't have the most fantastic bulk either. Okay, one thing to note is that Dylan's and Gideon's passive of decreasing defense by 2000 does not stack. Okay, it's the same effect, so you don't, yeah, so basically it just won't stack. So it will still be a minus 4000 defense with Dilo on the field. Okay. Another good thing about the, Gideon on the offensive team is that he has taken up the role of the isolator. Okay, because you're no longer using Randgrid, so you do have a 5-man isolation skill that you can use if he does use it. Yeah, as you can see here, yeah, this is the isolation skill. He does incredible damage. So if you watched the video yesterday I posted on him in the death team, you'll realize that Gideon doesn't do that much damage in the death team, but in the offensive team it is so huge, because firstly you have minus 4000 defense. Okay, you also have Colt that is going to increase your physical attack by 40%. You have Dilo increasing a lot of damage as well. Yeah, so overall, all these coming together, it's insane. Like Gideon's damage can hit up to about 400,000 to even 800,000, as we saw previously in the live stream as well. So this is up against another offensive team. You see that his Rudy went first, so he reduced my buff duration and shields first, and in this case he will be able to do damage to me immediately here. Yeah. So that's not the best situation, of course, but thankfully my Jack, okay, he went after Rudy, so this is gonna hit super hard. Yeah. Pretty hard, I would say. Hopefully Gideon does move. Because, you know, if he doesn't move, then he I can't show you the damage that he can do, but yeah, rest assured that he does do pretty good damage if he does attack. Although, you know, I would really prefer if Jack was the one attacking, so I won't complain if Gideon doesn't move, right? As long as my Jack is doing his work. Ultimately, Gideon in the offensive team, it's kind of like a secondary DPS, but also as a support hero. Yeah, unfortunately, my Jack has died, so I'm really hoping Gideon will step up as the damaging unit after he revives, of course. Not too sure, hopefully we see some action, because I feel that he goes down pretty fast after, you know, he comes back. I don't know why. He technically doesn't have all the buffs that he had from before, right? Because before that he had all the Rudy stacks, but after he revives, he loses them. And yeah, that's not the best thing, so I lost here. Okay, anyway, so this is the magic team that we're gonna try, and this is the setup that I gave him for the magic team, which is double crit HP, increase awakening gauge. I think having reflect immunity is better. Okay, not increase awakening gauge, because he does already increase awakening. He does charge his awakening gauge pretty fast already. Crit and lethal ring increase, survive 1 HP pretty standard, and guardian ring height and purification. So this is the standard meta accessory combination that you will want to have. Okay, so in a magic team, this is kind of like a cheat magic team, I would say. It's kind of like a death magic team. So over here I do have Chris, okay, in place of Judas. I know some people like to use Judas instead. Judas has also stepped up as a speed user, for his effect attack to cast death, so that's also one possible way. And Judas overall has a better passive than Chris, I would say, because Judas does allow you to increase damage dealt on enemies by 50% and also decrease their recovery rate. So overall, Judas has more utility than Chris, so you can use Judas in place of Chris here. But I want to use Chris because I want the death to be more efficient, because not only does my Chris have a big role to play in the death part, but my Yeonhee is also equipped with... Oh, you saw that Gideon used his awaken skill already because he charged it so fast. Yeah, but my Yeonhee also has death on her accessory, so... And the thing is, she hits 2 targets, right? So she's slightly more efficient than Dylan's from before. And I think in the magic team, you have anti. I mean, having anti is already a big asset and a big plus, because anti can help to cleanse very easily, and you have Baal here who's gonna be isolating your enemies also. So overall, I think this team is kind of tighter and better than the offensive version, the offensive death version. Okay, so yeah, I would prefer this team. In fact, I am actually currently using it to climb in arena, and it's been doing pretty well. Also thanks to the fact that Baal does reduce defense of the enemies by 50%, and alongside Gideon, you reduce the enemy's defense further by 2000 flat. Previously, the magic team did not have this, apart from Yeonhee, but Yeonhee only reduces defense on the front line by 2000. So if the enemy is using a 4-1 formation, then you're not going to enjoy much of that, right? But Gideon here can support Yeonhee in terms of reducing more defense across the entire enemy team, and that is going to help a lot more. And as you can see here, I'm also facing a death Yeonhee, so thankfully my anti does cleanse, otherwise I'm going to be so screwed. And luckily my Yeonhee did kill off 2 units with her death, and yeah, here Gideon just went off with his death and killed off another 2 units. 1 unit, I think. So this is kind of like a similar team to mine, except that I think his Gideon didn't exactly land a death. I think he did, but thankfully I was cleansed already. So you can see that Gideon actually survives pretty well. So this is a team against the Randgrid team, and as we have mentioned before, having a Randgrid on the enemy team does not always go well because they can resist your death pretty easily. Okay, especially if they have death resist. You see that I didn't really land a death much, even though I think that was a 4-man attack, but I think I only landed on one enemy, so it was not that great, to be honest.
더 놀고 싶지만 모두 잠들 시간이야. 영원히 굿나잇 키스를 해줄게. 잘 받으라고. 심연의 힘이여 균열을 만들고.
So overall, I think that Gideon is a pretty flexible unit. You can use him in any team basically. I haven't tested him in a universal team, but I would say that it could go pretty well, I would think. Okay, not too sure there. But I don't think he will have a problem because he also helps to reduce the defense of the enemy. So technically, Abel can hit a lot harder as well. I think in the universal team, Wukong does decrease defense, if I'm not wrong, or block rate. Yeah, but it's by turn, right? So having an all-out, a flat decrease provider is also good for universal team. And you could probably run something like Wukong, Abel, Judas, Gideon, and Anti. That could potentially work in terms of having a more damage-oriented universal team. I'm really considering Elf because Elf is going to support Gideon's damage as well because Gideon does have 2 4-man AoE. So that will be pretty pop. So unfortunately, I am not able to overcome this team. I think this team is still one of the strongest teams. As you can see, the death I think just isn't landing very well, especially if you have Randgrid on death resist, very high death resist, because she is kind of like the pillar of this team, okay, the debuff resistance. So if she goes down, then your entire team, that entire team is going to be very susceptible to a CC. But you see here, I did not land a single death because I think Randgrid does give like 40% resistance or something, or 30%, and on top of that, if you assign the right formation buffs, you can hit very high status effect resist rate in general. Okay, so that could really protect your team if you want to run Randgrid. And unfortunately, yes, I don't think I can win here, of course. So hopefully this video helped and it allowed you to see how Gideon can be used in other team formations and team compositions as well. And maybe you can give him a try in whatever team you want. Because overall I think he's a very well designed unit, and perhaps you can try different combinations and let me know what you have tried, okay? Big shout out to my channel members Yeonhee, Phoenix, Yamaki, Hajime, and Reggie Bautista for support. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much and see you!